Hello, everybody. This is John Browning with the Building Your Life podcast. We are back again today. We just did a podcast a couple weeks ago with Sue Schuster. Sue is back with us again. I called you Sue. Sorry about that. So, Sue, you're
Happens all
back
the
with us
time. I
again.
married into that. It's not my fault. It's okay.
So, if you missed last week's, go back and listen to that, especially, not only, but especially if you're thinking about retirement and what that might look like, especially though if you are a small or mid-sized business owner, or if you're thinking about that next phase and becoming a corporate escapee, maybe using your skills, I'll say using your skills for good and escaping corporate and doing something on your own. Those are three things that we covered in the last podcast. And Sue has tremendous experience in that. So you want to go back and listen to that. Today, though, we wanted to really concentrate on the power and the relative safety that you can create for yourself, a bubble around yourself and your future, and building your best life in the future that you can do using corporate credit. But first, Sue, in case they didn't see that last one, can you just introduce yourself? Tell us what you do, why you do it.
Sure. I'm Sue Schuster with Profit Touring. I am a business coach that focuses on corporate credit and accelerating profits. I come out of the small business world. I was a owner of a small business for 20 years with my family, so a family business that has its own dynamics. Um, So we built it, grew it, sold it in 2022. That's a lot about what the last podcast is about.
Mm-hmm.
Since then, I went into the financial industry and got my 663 in a matter of months and decided I didn't like that. But I took what I had learned from small business and finances and my strong athletic background and I put it all together and found these great people with awesome culture there at Profit Touring and TJ Corporate Credit. And I joined them and I'm like, you can teach me a lot of things. We can help a lot of people. I want to teach business owners what I didn't know. And so that their story might end differently than mine. Um, or they can do exactly what they want to do. And I'm teaching them all the stuff and giving them the resources that I never had.
Awesome. And I appreciate that. I also appreciate that you decided you didn't like sort of my world, right?
Have
Of
at it. All
financials
yours.
and wealth management and all that kind of stuff. But you went and you did what your passion was and what you enjoy doing, which I think is what everyone should do, but people tend to be afraid to do. So here's an example of someone who made the pivot and made the pivot again when she found out not really for me. So,
Right. Well, yeah, always been a little bit of a risk taker. Sometimes great, they work out, and sometimes not so much. But you just have to have calculated risks and make sure that you know what could happen and then not be surprised in what does happen.
and be educated, right? Be
Yes,
educated about the
always.
risk or what the risk really is. Don't just assume, which is a horrible word that we tend to do a lot of. We tend to make a lot of assumptions. And I won't tell you what that actually means because this is a family podcast, but it makes something out of you and me
Yes.
if you figure that out. But tell us a little bit about this idea of corporate credit. But first, let's talk about the SBA loan because that tends to be where most people go first. They will go
Sure.
to their bank, or the bank says, "Hey, we can do an SBA loan. This is so much better because it's backed by the government." All kinds of reasons why that much must be better. And yet, in my experience, it's something that can be very dangerous. And like you said, understand your risks and how to mitigate those risks and what risk is right for you. So tell us about the SBA loan a little bit first, just to build a
Sure.
base.
So, SBA loans, again, are for businesses to get money to start their business. You have to have a business plan, everything else. You take it to the bank. The bank says, hey, yeah, we believe in this business, or we don't believe in this business. I mean, when you start a swim school, I can't tell you how many banks we went to because they didn't think it was a thing back in the lots of years ago. Now they know that that's a lucrative business and more people are getting into it. So think about that. Something is government backed. So if it goes poorly and the government has control over it, what could that do for you personally later? Because all SBA loans, they're going to ask for your social security number, and it's going to be personally tied to you, your assets, your house, your retirement, everything else. So, yes, you can get the money. So think about it. You go to the bank, you want an SBA loan for your business. You're making a nail salon. I don't know, whatever. So you need lots of money to start get the location, all this stuff. You go to your bank that you've banked with forever. They know you. Here you go. Jill walks into the bank. They say, "Hi, Jill, what do you need?" "Oh, I need an SBA loan." "Great. Let's look at your business plan. Let's personally guarantee this with your house. And then we're going to give you the money at 14, 15% interest. And you're excited about it. You've got the money you need, and now you're off with a rather high interest rate, and you've personally guaranteed it yourself. So how much has the bank really taken? And it's got backed by the government. So they've taken zero. That's yeah, but you're happy as can be as Jill leaves and starts her nail studio. Um, we don't want that anymore. We need to kind of get the education out that that is not, it might be the only that might be perceived as the only choice because it was for years and years and years. But again, I'm teaching Main Street what Wall Street already knows. Could you imagine a CEO of like a T-Mobile going and they want to guarantee their next tower or whatnot? "Oh, I'll just personally guarantee that." That doesn't happen. So why are we as small business people doing that? And corporate America, which I was actually never part of, doesn't. So that's part of the mission.
Yeah. And it really, the SBA loan, contrary to popular belief, one of the great things about living in America, right, is that, and this is not something that we're excited to talk about, but I'm just going to say it, it is possible to declare bankruptcy and restart. That is something that doesn't exist in many other countries. And it is why I believe, and this goes to those beliefs, that America is fantastic and a wonderful place to live because it allows for mistakes and allows for recovery. But with an SBA loan, there is very little room for bankruptcy because you go bankrupt, something happens in the business which can, no matter how much you believe in it, no matter how good you are, something can happen in your life to make that go away. You could get sick and not be able to run the business. Anything could happen. Well, the SBA, you could go bankrupt, but they still have your personal guarantee. You could go personally bankrupt and they'll still take your social security. They'll still take your house. So it is not not the safest route to go if you have a choice, and you just need to be educated about it. So I just want to make sure people know that.
Well, not to digress from that. No, I completely agree with all that. But think of, and I've done some research on this, think of America as a bunch of entrepreneurs who all went and left wherever they came from. They took a risk, they got here, they started a life. They're all our ancestors,
Mm-hmm.
doesn't matter. And so this whole country is built of entrepreneurs, people who live outside the box, take risks, everything else, and that's gone through the generations. And also our culture, okay, I made a business and I failed. If you did that in another country, then you're like shunned. And we're like, okay, try again. So just the culture of America is also really great. And we're built of lots of people who are risk takers and go-getters. And that's part of the success of our country.
Yes. And when you fail, what do you do? Like when you were in sports, right? When you were actively involved in your athletic activity, what was one of the best ways for you to learn?
Yeah, you
You
learn so
failed.
much more from losing. So,
Yes.
and getting hurt, and don't do that again. So yeah, for
How
sure.
much how much better will you be the next time that you try? And it's
Right.
painful enough that it's the experience is the best teacher. So encourage people who have had some issues before, learn from those things, try again. And with the idea of this corporate credit, which I don't know anything about, so I'm not going to talk much. I'm just going to ask questions of you.
Sure.
With this is a way to, it's not that we're trying to fail. It's not that we're taking risks that don't make any sense, but it's at least possible that, okay, if we do fail, it's not catastrophic to our life.
Right.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, sure. So let's go into the real estate world. So
Okay.
we have a company and we like to flip or we have rental properties or everything else. What I've learned from realtors is that they can't have enough properties. They just want more. Um, so if you build corporate credit on each of your properties, and then it grows to a point, because again, it has to grow. It does take time. This isn't a quick fix. You need to start learning how to establish and grow your corporate credit before you need it. We have a shortcut, but that's the expensive way to go. If you want to grow
Okay.
it organically, we have an app, takes you through all the process, but it takes time. So I'm now the realtor and I'm now building corporate credit on each of my companies. And I did bootstrap it to begin with because you need to do that to begin with. Um, but now I have a few and I'm building corporate credit. Now I'm going to use that corporate credit to buy the next property. I'm not going to ding my personal credit anymore. And I'm going to continue to rinse and repeat. So now my next company I built off of the other companies, just paper money to the new corporation, built that, grew that, rented that. Now I'm going to do it on my next company too. So if I have five, six properties that are all on own LLCs, which they should be, with their own EIN numbers, which they should be for your own protection, because stuff happens, then I can utilize that to continue on and build. Also, again, it's an asset of your business. So when you choose to sell it, and you do an asset sale, this corporate credit that people can get term loans or lines of credit or credit cards off of goes with the business. They can either use that in the future to expand the business they just bought, or they can use it to help purchase the business they just bought because it's not tied to the owner. Um, so what corporate credit does, it's actually more of a reporting problem because there are three credit reporting. Like personal, it's Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. Business is different. There's still Equifax business, Experian business, but now it's Dun& Bradstreet. Dun& Bradstreet was kind of the pioneer. Anybody here hears anything about corporate credit, then tells me about Dun& Bradstreet. And I said, yes, I know. It is one of the three reporting agencies. Um, Not much of what you're doing that says business. You got your business credit card from probably the same place you got your SBA loan, and they say they report to the credit bureaus. And either they're reporting to, and you put your social down on it. They either report to the personal side or they report to nowhere. So as you are charging things to the business and paying it off with either business money or personal money, whatever money, it's not actually doing your credit for your business any good because it doesn't get reported. Only 5% of the cards or the banks report. I know who they are. When we started this company, we didn't know exactly who they were, so there was a whole lot of trial and error. Get this card, see if it reports. Get the card, see if it reports. So anyway, yeah, a mess. Um, but now we do know who has reports, and the app that we use, only those, we know all of those report. We know how they report. We know what it takes to apply for the card. Are they net 30? Did they do a personal pull? Can you just do this on the EIN? That's all in the app. Um, so going forward, as you build and utilize it, then once you get to tier two or better yet, tier four funding, which means that you've demonstrated the ability to charge and repay. So if your budget is $1 million and you use that regularly and you use that responsibly, then imagine how the lending agencies are going to look at you. You're like, well, you charge and you repay all this money, you're going to charge and repay us. And we're going to get a little bit of interest and you're a good risk. So that's what more corporate credit is built on rather than personal credit, which is how much your credit limit is and your utilization. That was a lot. What questions do you have out of that?
So when I think it's really important, I think the most important thing that you're trying to tell us here is that separate your corporate credit, your LLC credit from your personal credit. That's like the number one thing, but it seems so overwhelmingly impossible, right? Like when you go to a bank and you say, I've got this new business, they're like, yeah, okay, well, maybe if you give me your social security number, maybe we'll give you a credit card. How do
Right.
you get started? Like, what do you suggest?
So to for startups who have no credit, no history, and they're like they just built the LLC. It's 2 months old. What are you going to do with that? Um, for those that are older than 2 years, we can, if you still use the shortcut version. So if you start a business and you're like, I can bootstrap this, and maybe you're at home and you don't have a whole lot of expenses yet. They start their corporate credit organically through the app for only $100 a month right now. But when this we get more subscriptions, then it's going to go up. So don't quote me on that price. Um, and you start it now, it takes 6 months to a year to grow when you utilize the right cards and you demonstrate the ability to pay and to charge and pay it off. So new businesses who don't have a whole lot of funds or don't need a whole lot of funds to begin with, just go through the corporate credit building. And then by the time you get a year out and you really know what you're doing in your business and you're really growing and you need funding, we can get you funding. If that's not the case and you do need a large chunk because you need space or you need equipment or you need a fleet of trucks or whatever you need, we actually use something called turbo touring, which can get you money in as little as 3 months, 90 days, and we will establish your corporate credit for you. Now, it's a shortcut. And it does take a little bit of startup money to begin with. So you would pay, maybe you were thinking you're starting a business, you have 25,000 or 10,000 to head and get started on the business, but really you need 400,000 in equipment and everything else. So that seed money can get you into the program and get you the credit history you need to go ahead and get those higher amounts.
Hmm. Oh,
I know it's a
that
bit vague on that, but I was a little
yeah, I was
vague.
about to say, could you give us a little bit more detail, or is it just not possible because it's so different for everyone?
It is so different on for everyone. If you want more information on that one, I'm going to send you to a website. It's called turboturing.ai. So
Okay.
Turing is TURING.ai, then the word turbo. So go to that website. They explain it in the right terms. I don't want to misstate and lead you in a different direction. But anyway, you can get funding on an EIN number that is not attached to you personally uh, in as little as 90 days, and you can get a lot of funding. But it does cost some money to start up.
Okay. No, that's I think that's fascinating because frankly, I did not know that that
Is a
was a
thing? I
thing.
know.
Yeah.
And you were even in Wall Street. Wall Street's doing it all the time.
I know. I know. I mean, I know of like some other areas that'll do it, but there's a couple issues with them. Number one, they're very expensive in terms of their rates. Now, I don't know what rates this these guys may be charging, but
Right.
that
Well, the
that's a one
loan,
big problem. It's kind of like loan sharking.
yeah,
It's
the loan is actually just a few points over prime.
okay. That seems reasonable.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I guess what is it now? It's not prime anymore because that went away, but it's over the treasury. The treasury rates, is it kind of tied to the 10-year almost? They're not quite.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to give people an idea. So the treasury this morning in a 10-year, I think was a uh, 450 or somewhere around in there. So you can kind of
Yep.
get a couple points over that. It's going to be 5, 6, 7, so 7, 8%.
Right. Rather than
That
that
is
14,
not bad for a
15.
business loan. Yeah.
No. And so when you get credit on your EIN, it's 5 to 50 times bigger and at better interest rates and at better terms. So we need to, as a community, stop using our social security number and personally guaranteeing things just for the risks and the expense. Not only personally, but you could do much better if you just learned how to use corporate credit. And it's a reporting problem, and we teach you how to report it and position your business that you look very well to lenders.
Yeah. Okay. What else do people need to know if they are starting out? They are going to need, as they grow, they're going to need more money than they have. I don't suggest anyone start a business without having a significant nest egg, and maybe they need to talk with either you or myself about what that needs to be based on the business they want to start. But I don't recommend not having a nice little cushion and understanding that you're going to spend that down, and that even though if you were in corporate America and you did really well because you had all these clients, does not mean in the first couple of weeks that you're going to get your first client. It may take 6 months to get your first client. It may take longer than that to get enough clients that you're profitable,
Right.
right? And I think that's a big misnomer. And I was a little bit that way, right? You come out of Wall Street, you're like, oh, people will just come to me. That does not work,
No, that
right?
does not work.
You
That does
have to
not
go
work.
out there and find them, and especially if you're an independent. So people need to understand that. But can they call you and sort of at least sort of pick your brain, so to speak,
Oh,
in
of
terms of
course.
what
So
they need
I'm
to
I'm
start with?
happy to talk to any business owner who's looking, because we can also get the funding. Highly recommend the app, which is called Try Turing. I will personally give you a link that will send you to the right place to register for that. That can teach you from business name all the way up to tier four funding. So if you don't have a business name, you don't really know what an LLC is, why do I need an S corp, or am I a partnership, or what am I? Um, it gives you all that stuff, plus a ton of templates that a ton, as in like over 3,000 that you can download yourself. I don't know if you've ever gone through the Google wormhole of trying to find the right business plan or the rental agreement or this, that, or the other thing. That's all in there. There's also discounts on programs you use anyway, like HeyGen and QuickBooks. And there's an Ask Alan bot too. So that's all in the app. I would highly suggest the app. It's very cost effective. To contact me to get the link for the app, my personal email is schuster@profitturing.ai, or they can just give my business a text or a call. I'll answer the phone, 610-844-3159.
And that's going to be in the show notes. We'll definitely make sure that's down there for people because it's just a hugely valuable resource if this is something that you're considering doing, or if you're in the middle of it and you're getting frustrated because you're limited by what? Money.
Money. Yeah,
Because
90% of
money's the
businesses
tool.
fail because of money. They can't expand, they can't grow because they're kind of stuck where they are because they don't have enough seed money to go ahead and move forward, or maybe they're tapped out personally, or their personal score, which we can report pair to, that's another thing, and a business evaluation, all of those things. If a small business needs it, we can do it in one of our pillars, but money is huge and we can get funding very creatively on your
So if we're
EIN.
going to recap, number one, stop personally guaranteeing your business
Yes,
things. There's this concept that I teach a lot, which is own nothing, control everything.
yes,
And this is one of the ways that you do it. So that's number one. Number two is there are options available that are not impossible that you can help them with. Sue Schuster, she just gave you her email. It's going to be down in the show notes. Reach out to her. She's not going to charge you for a conversation, and you're going to get a lot of good information. And if those are like the two things that I really want to get across for this. It is not impossible. I encourage people that if you're just getting frustrated, you're not building your best life because you're so frustrated where you are, think about ways that you could use your experience and your skills to support yourself and create your own personal paycheck, not just in retirement, but maybe continuing to do things that you love. So I really encourage people to reach out to you, talk to you, get the information. At least you have it then. And if you have not been a regular listener to the Building Your Life podcast, you can get in touch with us at guardianrockwealth.com. We serve people all over the United States, or text the word life to 321-421-5213. But Sue, we want to wrap it up. I know you've got a busy day ahead of you. Thanks so much for joining us and sharing some of your knowledge. And we'll see everybody in a couple of weeks.
thank you.
All right, we'll see you.